Had this effervescent person.
Even of Boulder, a place that, disdained mink coats.
It's a beautiful spot, but very different than what we were used to. We were business people in a...
Just after dawn on December 26, 1996, Boulder, Colorado awoke to a nightmare. 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey was missing, and a 3-page ransom note lay strewn on the family's staircase. Hours later, her small body was found duct-taped and strangled in the basement wine cellar, wrapped in a white blanket. National headlines screamed questions. Who took her? Was it an intruder or someone inside the home? For nearly 30 years, the Ramsey family remained silent, their voices drowned out by speculation, scandal, and conspiracy. But now, John Ramsey, the father long viewed as a suspect in the court of public opinion, speaks for the first time in an in-depth interview. He will reveal details no one knows, challenge myths you've accepted, and share the truth that left millions around the globe stunned. Stay until the end, hit subscribe, and drop your own thoughts in the comments below. What you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about this case. JonBenet Ramsey was born in Lincoln, Nebraska, in 1943, the eldest son of Mary Jane and James Dudley Ramsey, a decorated World War II pilot. Raised in the heart of the Midwest, young John learned discipline and leadership early, traits that led him to Michigan State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering in 1966, followed by an MBA in 1971. Commissioned as an officer in the U.S. Navy Civil Engineer Corps, Ramsey served 3 active years in the Philippines and another 8 in the reserves, all while cultivating a love of aviation that would define his civilian life. Licensed to fly private planes, he would later transport family and business associates across the country at a moment's notice. After leaving active duty, John channeled his engineering and business acumen into the tech sector. In 1989, he founded Advanced Product Group, which merged into Access Graphics, a computer services powerhouse that generated over $1 billion in revenue by 1996 and became a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin. Under his leadership as president and CEO, the company thrived. In 1996, the Boulder Chamber of Commerce named him Entrepreneur of the Year. His net worth soared past $6.4 million, punctuated by a $118,000 Christmas bonus that same December, money that would later become a central clue in a tragic puzzle. John's personal life was equally complex. His first marriage to Lucinda Pash in 1966 produced 3 children, Elizabeth, Melinda, and John Andrew. Though the union ended in divorce in 1978, the siblings remained close. 2 years later, John remarried Paty Ramsey, a former beauty queen whose grace and pageant experience complemented his business world. Together they welcomed 2 more children, 9-year-old Burke and 6-year-old JonBenet Patricia on August 6, 1990. The family home at 755 15th Street in Boulder symbolized comfort and community, their lives interwoven with events at St. John's Episcopal Church and festive holiday gatherings among the city's elite. The week before Christmas, the Ramseys' calendar was full. On the evening of December 23rd, they hosted 30 to 40 guests, neighbors decorating gingerbread houses, children sipping hot cocoa, and a costumed Santa entertaining the laughter of families. JonBenet proudly wore a gold bracelet engraved with her name and the date, 251,296, a present she cherished. Later that night, John, Paty, Burke, and JonBenet joined friends Fleet and Priscilla White for an intimate party in the same upscale Boulder neighborhood. The mood was festive until plans for a post-Christmas trip to Charlevoix, Michigan, a family reunion with John's older children, cast a logistical undercurrent beneath the cheer. On Christmas Day, the Ramseys exchanged gifts around a grand tree. JonBenet tore open a bicycle, her giggles echoing through the living room. After dinner, John gently carried her to bed, a ritual he cherished. By 10 p.m., the house was quiet. Yet beneath the baubles and laughter, unnoticed tension simmered. Burke's occasional behavioral issues, John's demands of high-stakes business meetings, and Paty's rigorous management of JonBenet's pageant schedule. These threads would later intertwine into questions that reverberated long after the tree lights dimmed. At 5:30 a.m. on December 26th, Paty rose to brew coffee. A routine check of her daughter's room produced a heart-stopping emptiness. Gone was the sleeping child she had tucked in hours before. Instead, a 3-page ransom note lay at the base of the spiral staircase. It demanded $118,000, exactly the amount of John's recent bonus, and warned against police involvement. Panic surged as Paty woke John. Together, they scoured the house. Burke remained asleep, giving no clue to investigators about the night's events. When Paty dialed 911 at 5:52 a.m., seasoned dispatchers would later note the call's oddities: an unnaturally calm tone, repeated use of "we" instead of "my," and multiple "please" that seemed rehearsed. Paty prioritized mentioning the note over her missing child, shifting focus from the little girl to a piece of paper. Unbeknownst to her, the line stayed open after the call ended. Background voices, a heated exchange possibly involving Burke, flickered through, suggesting chaos beyond a scripted emergency. Police arrived minutes later. In a critical misstep, John invited close family friends into the home before it was secured. Friends wandered freely, touching chairs, countertops, and the basement door, obliterating fingerprints and biological evidence. The delay in locking down the crime scene would haunt the investigation. Finally, at approximately 1 p.m., John and Detective Linda Arndt ventured into the basement wine cellar. There, under a white blanket with duct tape around her mouth and a makeshift garrote of paintbrush pieces, lay JonBenet's lifeless body. In a moment frozen in infamy, John lifted the tape and carried his daughter upstairs to the Christmas tree, destroying precious forensic clues, a decision later cited by Arndt as suspicious. She would recount to Good Morning America how his posture, arms holding the child at a distance, seemed too detached for a grieving father, planting doubt in her mind. The ransom note, typed on a household notepad, spoke with theatrical flair, detailed directions, precise monetary demand, and bizarre references that behavioral analysts would later describe as maternal in tone. Handwriting comparisons excluded John and Burke but could not definitively rule out Paty. Yet no follow-up calls came from the kidnapper. No proof of forced cellar entry. No taped windows. Inside JonBenet's stomach, pineapple chunks contradicted the parents' timeline, fruit she was said not to have eaten. A bowl in the kitchen bore Burke's fingerprints, though age prevented precise analysis. High-tech bootprint molds and rope not belonging to the Ramsays pointed to an outsider, but intact cobwebs beside a broken basement window muddied the picture. Stun gun marks debated. A flashlight found in the kitchen, a paintbrush garrote, unidentified male DNA on her underwear and under her fingernails, all clues that gridlocked theories of insider staging versus a predatory intruder. John's actions fueled further speculation. Days after his daughter's death, he arranged a flight to Atlanta for an urgent business meeting against police instructions, leading some to accuse him of attempting to flee. His accounts of bedtime routines shifted between interviews, from reading bedtime stories to finding the children already asleep. He admitted a 90-minute absence to retrieve mail through a front door slot, an inexplicable detour during a scene fraught with potential evidence. He and Paty offered conflicting narratives about who insisted on calling 911, and his later claim that a basement window was open, contradicting officer statements, appeared as if he planted evidence of an intruder. Among the most sensational theories was posed by a former CIA analyst, that John staged the entire event to conceal prior abuse of JonBenet, manipulating Paty and Burke. According to this hypothesis, Burke inadvertently harmed his sister. Paty wrote the ransom note under John's instructions, and John orchestrated a cover-up that tragically culminated in JonBenet's death. Though riveting in tabloids, no hard evidence, no DNA, no admissible fibers, no credible attestations ever substantiated these claims. In the years following the crime, law enforcement's early missteps opened the door for private investigation. Detective L. Smith, a veteran Colorado homicide detective, re-examined the scene photos and residue logs with forensic precision. He interpreted the broken window as an entry invitation, the suitcase beneath it as a climbing step, and subtle wall scuffs as signs of staging. Smith concluded the Ramsays were victims, not perpetrators. At the same time, FBI profiler John Douglas built a behavioral profile from the sequence of crime events. His analysis found no familial rage or personal vendetta typical of insider homicides. Instead, Douglas saw evidence of an obsessive predator, calculated, distant, and methodical, who planned the attack long before that Christmas night. Finally, in 2008, District Attorney Mary Lacey publicly exonerated the Ramsey family after unidentified male DNA on JonBenet's clothing and under her nails was confirmed to match no family member. While some skeptics attributed the genetic material to factory contamination, the consensus among experts was clear. A stranger had visited the Ramsey home, leaving an indelible trace. Beyond one family's heartbreak, the Ramsey case exposed glaring flaws in crime scene protocol. Investigators nationwide implemented stricter lockdown policies, forensic awareness training, and interagency collaboration standards. The use of forensic genealogy, advanced DNA testing that cracked the Golden State Killer case, emerged from lessons learned in Boulder. Colorado's 2013 legislation empowering cold case reviews stemmed directly from failures highlighted by JonBenet's unsolved murder. After decades in the spotlight, John Ramsey retreated from public life following his wife Paty's death from ovarian cancer in 2006 and the earlier loss of daughter Elizabeth in 1992. He moved to Las Vegas, remarried fashion designer Jan Rusokos, and penned his memoir, The Other Side of Suffering, in 2012. Yet he never abandoned his mission. He lobbied for victims' rights legislation, funded cold case initiatives, and persistently demanded the Boulder Police Department re-examine the genetic evidence with today's technology, asking quietly but firmly, "Do you still have the evidence?" Decades after that fateful Christmas night, the Ramsey home sits empty of answers. The unidentified male DNA remains the single thread connecting JonBenet's murder to a still-at-large killer. Advances in forensic genealogy now offer the promise of a match, but only if those holding the evidence choose to act. John Ramsey's plea is simple. This case deserves closure, not infinite conjecture. In a world captivated by unresolved mysteries, JonBenet Ramsey's story endures because it reflects our deepest fears, the unknown predator in our midst, the fragility of innocence, and the scars inflicted by a justice system that can falter under pressure. John Ramsey's long-awaited confession leaves us with one chilling question. Will the truth behind that DNA finally be revealed, or will this case remain forever buried in the darkness of unanswered doubt? Thank you for joining this deep exploration into one of America's most enduring mysteries. If John Ramsey's revelations surprised you, smash that like button and share this documentary. Subscribe for more true crime investigations, and let us know below, what do you believe really happened that night in Boulder, Colorado?